Hi there, it's Bibi Cameron here. Welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to be sharing the process to create these cards using beautiful supplies by Honeybee Stamps. I'm going to be using this stamp set called More Flaky Friends, and it has this adorable baby deer, a penguin, a Christmas tree or a pine, small snowflakes, and a bunch of small accessories to create or to decorate your cards. And I'm also going to be using this stencil called Honeybee Hive, but in this opportunity I'm going to create an igloo using this stencil. I just saw the stencil and this stencil is so creative and so unique, and I thought I don't want to stamp a honeybee hive. I want to do something else, and that's what I did, and I hope you like the idea and you can try also to experiment how to stretch the use of your supplies. So I'm going to be using Bristol paper. This measures 6 by 6 inches, and I really like this paper to be used with water-based markers. I'm going to be using a little bit of water on this paper today. So I'm going to grab my stamping platform. I'm going to place a craft foam on there, and I'm also going to be using a piece of paper just to protect the craft foam to get all inky, to avoid that ink to get transferred on the back of my cardstock and also my hands and all over the place. So I'm going to stamp this image using VersaFine Onyx black ink. I love this ink, but you really need to allow this ink to dry before applying colors, especially when you are using also Bristol paper, because the ink tends to stay over the surface of the paper for longer, and if you accidentally pass the hand over the image or you start applying colors, the ink is going to bleed. So I highly recommend to allow this ink to dry or use a heat tool to speed the process. Okay, so now I'm going to stamp the other penguin, and I'm going to use a plastic bag just to be able to move the image around the paper or on the paper without getting that ink transferred there, and I don't have to clean the stamp. So I'm just going to stamp this like so, and I'm going to stamp it twice. So the stamping platform is going to help you to stamp over and over in the same place and with precision, so you will get those images really bold and nice. Now I'm going to create a mask, and I'm going to be using post-it notes, and I have 2 post-it notes here, so I'm going to create 2 masks in one go. And when I'm doing this, I try to keep some of the sticky side of the post-it note behind that stamped image, so I make sure that it will adhere somehow to this paper. And I'm also making sure that I'm drying the ink before putting the mask down. So I'm going to bring here the stencil. The stencil have 4 parts. I'm only going to use one of these parts that have the striped or the lines, so I'm only going to use one of them, not 2 of them. And I'm going to place the mask on the penguins like that. I'm going to grab some paper and I'm going to tear the paper to create another mask. I do this very often, as it's super easy and it's very convenient to create kind of effects in the background. And I'm going to use this ink that is one of my favorite colors for skies or for blue backgrounds. It's just so nice and soft. So I'm just going to grab a blender tool and I'm going to hold all my mask in place with my hand. You know that the post-it note is not the best friend, honestly. I need to get masking paper. So you see that my mask fly away. So I have this idea to use my Thin Holtz stamping platform to hold my mask in place. So I'm also showing you here how to work when you don't have supplies or the right supplies. So now I'm going to use the magnets of the stamping platform to hold those images in place and to be able to work easier. And I'm going to be using also broken china ink to add a little bit of contrast at the edges of that stenciled image. And I just think this stencil is awesome. Don't you see the shape of an ice cream as well? What else you can see there? I would love to know. And if you have any idea, feel free to leave a comment. Your ideas are always welcome. And this part here is completely up to you. I want this to be a night scene, but you can just create a nice day scene as well. It doesn't have to be a night scene. So now I'm going to stamp all images from this stamp set, like the trees, and I'm going to start building the scene and trying to enrich that composition. I also like to use the stencil as mask, so I'm going to just use this here and I'm going to stamp over. And now I'm going to stamp another images I need for this scene. I'm going to be stamping these little hats here. They are just the cutest thing ever. And I'm also going to stamp this Christmas present. I'm going to add colors also using water-based markers, and I'm just a fan of applying layers of colors. I just apply a hint of color on the image, and with the water brush I spread the ink as you can see there, and I like to apply light colors first and then apply darker colors. I'm going to use some of this yellow ink on top of the trees because I'm going to be stamping some stars there, and I'm also going to add colors to the penguins. Despite they are white, I don't want it to look so white, so I apply a little bit of pink in the cheeks of the penguins, a little bit of blue on top of the eyes, and a little bit of this kind of neutral inks around the body just to give a little bit of volume as well. And another thing I do is cleaning the brush with my hand, just like this. You will see my hand moving many times out of the screen, and what I'm doing there is cleaning the brush every time I change the ink color. Sometimes I want to blend the color, so I don't clean it. If I'm going to make a purple color and I'm using a blue color and then a pink, it's fine. You don't need to wash the brush or clean the brush. But I keep it cleaning the brush really quick with the tips on my fingers, so you will see my hands really inky the whole time. Some people use paper towels or napkins to clean the brush, but I just use my hands. Even when I'm using red colors or something like that, it just works for me. I always have done this, so that's another thing I do. So now I'm going to add color to the hats, and I think these are the most adorable hats. They are so beautiful, and also to the presents. So this is super easy, and if you have tried Bristol paper with this kind of marker or water-based markers, you know what I mean. It's just easy when you use also a water brush to blend the color. And I like to use a Memento black marker to add color to the edges of these images like so. Now I'm going to use another stamps from this set to add details to this scene. So you see the image is just getting kind of a shape now, and all these little stamps that you can use to create accessories or embellishments are just essential. If you see how much life these little accessories add to this card. And now I'm going to cut this piece of paper because I want to create another kind of mask. So as simple as that, I just create this mask, and I'm going to place it like that. I'm going to use some tape to keep it in place, and I'm going to apply these 3 inks starting from the lightest to the darkest because I want to create that night look and feel. Then I'm going to use this roller here just to apply a little bit of this ink because I don't want that to be white at all. And I start adding shadows also to the images. I'm not scared to apply a stain of brown color there, because you know the snow is not all white. The snow also have some patches of brown colors, etc. And I embellish with Nuvo drops. So this card is actually very easy to make. You can add as many details as you want. It's just an idea for you to use the supplies differently. And please bear in mind that when you are creating a blending background, okay, every color matters. If I don't apply the black suit, those blue inks are not going to look like they look. If you don't apply the blue ink, only the black, well, it's going to look completely different. So it's very cool to blend the inks. And I always start from the lightest to the darkest. I like to add many small details to my cards, and especially when I'm applying colors. So for example, here I'm trying to add a kind of floor. And as this is a snowy scene, I have to add snow. So I just grab a marker, I make a mess there, and I just splatter the ink directly on that paper as I show you there. And as I'm using a glass mat by Tonic Studios, I don't have to be worried about how to clean that mess because it's just easy. I also wanted to stamp some snowflakes using white embossing powder as well. I'm also doing this Nuvo brush by Tonic Studios to sweep embossing powder, glitter, or the anti-static powder from your card. I really find it useful, so I wanted to share that with you as well. And as finishing touches, I also add white Nuvo drops here and there, and I'm going to add some accents using Faber-Castell polychrome colors. This is not a major coloring, just adding some lines here and there. For example, I'm using here the black color just to add some shadows that you might not be able to see, but they are there. Then I just trim the panel a little bit, and I like to create a stitched edge around the cardstock using my sewing machine. So I'm going to show you there as quick as I do it. I don't touch the paper at all. I just leave the machine do their work. The machine is ready to sew straight. You don't need to touch it or move the paper. So you create that stitched or decorative stitch around the paper. Now I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and I have to be honest with you, I struggle to stamp the word Christmas because there are some snowflakes there and they were resisting the ink. And if I pass my hand over that, that will be terrible. I will destroy my card. So what I did was I cut the word Christmas because this stamp set also have a coordinating die set, and as that I was able to save that panel. I also made the same card before this one, but when I was editing the video I noticed that there were some clips missing, so I repeat the whole thing. And this card here is a little bit different. I didn't stamp the snowflakes, I stamped a banner instead, a large sentiment in that front panel, and that focal light is falling also in the half of the tree in the left, so you can see there how beautiful that tree looks. You don't need to worry about applying the distress ink on top of another ink. All you need to know is that the inks need to be dry, okay? You cannot apply distress inks on a wet ink because everything is going to blend. So just work a little bit careful, just make sure that the inks are completely dry before you apply another ink on top, and that's it. And that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do not forget to subscribe to my channel, to visit my blog for more ideas and inspiration. And if you want to order any of the supplies I have used today, you can buy from the links in the video description. I get a small commission when you do that, and no extra cost to you. Thank you very much for watching and happy crafting. Bye!